Okay, let's get delightfully difficult. I am Ronnie. That's Kelly over there. What's up, Kelly?
What's up?
I would like to say, reporting live on the scene.
I feel like I am talking to like Channel News, ABC 7 with your traffic report.
You look like a newscaster, like the shot with like the freeway behind, and you're like, there's gonna be some road closures later on. Anyways, we're just being difficult. We're having a good time. What topic should we break down today? I gotta say, I'm so happy that we've done so many difficult podcasters episodes. We now have solo episodes, which is even fun to get like a Kelly perspective or a Ronnie perspective.
Yes.
But what do you want to break down
Well, today I really want to talk about red flags and deal breakers in dating.
Okay.
Yeah, and see my puppies enjoying the chat.
Can I acknowledge the non-deal breaker? What's a deal maker?
It's a deal maker right there. Tamale has joined the chat.
If you have a fur baby, right? They call them fur babies?
Yes, of course.
That's a good attribute. But it is funny. So deal breakers and deal makers.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to say the first thing that I'm going to ask you, Kelly, don't you think the metric changes as you get older?
Absolutely.
Because
you get
the dog is so cute, by the way.
She wants to come. There's a couch behind me with two other dogs on it. She's like asking permission to kind of jump between them.
I can't even concentrate on myself. The dog
I know. Hold on, let me fix this. Okay,
no,
go.
We're good.
Go.
We're good.
She wants to sit up there. Okay, there we go. Now we're good to go.
The mama.
But I definitely think that the metrics change because you get to know yourself a lot better and you really start to date for yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think in the early stages, sometimes you kind of fall into what, you're quote unquote supposed to want to like, or you let people get away with more than they should. You ignore red flags because you want to date. I think there's a lot of reasons. But as you get older, you kind of are, you know yourself better and you're more, I guess, accepting of if it doesn't work, it's not a big deal and we'll just move on.
Wait, so you're saying before you were more, you would accept more BS because you wanted the relationship so bad? Is that what you were kind of indicating?
Could be. I think that's one reason.
Yeah.
Or you just didn't know any better, or you just were hoping that what you saw wasn't real.
I think a lot of times too, you are trying to still build your fairy tale life.
Oh, for sure.
And so it's interesting to be like, I always say we're significantly above 35 and proud of that. That's a good thing because you have a lot to go off of. But I think your 24, 25, 26-year-old self is still like trying to set up your life so much. So even in the deal maker or deal breaker aspect of who you want to date, we feel like it needs to check all these boxes. But by the way, sometimes we don't even check the boxes. So what would make us feel we deserve that much? We should always be proud and confident. But isn't it funny that sometimes it'll be the most inadequate people like, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And it's like, but what are you bringing to the table?
Right, yeah,
and I think a couple things change as you become over 35 is that I think you start to be like, you know what? Yeah, I wanted all these things. Just like I wanted a great job by 30 and I wanted to buy my first, condo or home at this age. All these wants, they don't necessarily go according to plan. So when you become a little older, I think your dating metric opens up because you're in this vibe of, you know what? Everyone's got a little bit of baggage, and I'm not perfect either.
Here's my baggage right here, scratching at the couch.
Well, let's talk about the fur babies in the world of dating. I think you just have that connection with your fur babies. I think that is a deal maker.
Well, and I also have I think I go a little overboard with the animals, and so I'm gonna need someone that can deal with that because I have 4 dogs. And if I could rescue all of the dogs, I would.
Yeah. Well, where does that come from?
My aunt is a really hardcore animal lover, and she's always had a lot of dogs. And as I've gotten older, I've just really appreciate just life in general. I mean, I'll trap bugs and put them outside instead of, making sure that nobody kills them. And
yeah,
it's gotten that ridiculous.
It's just a connection.
But it's just everything serves a purpose, and instead of hurting things, we should take care of them. That's kind of the way that I feel now, and I really want to because I've never really wanted to have kids. I've always wanted
From
to.
a young age, you said that.
From a young age, I was never the one that wanted to get married and have kids. That was just never my dream.
Damn good aunt. Though.
Yes, and seeing my friends have kids, my sister has kids. When I get that little urge that lasts for about 5 minutes, I babysit. I'm good.
Well, let's go to the meat of the potatoes. Deal breaker. I have got to know this, Kellie. I have got to know. Get ready to talk the talk.
All right.
So if you start seeing somebody, it's feeling real good. Are you going down this lane or are you going down this lane? Let me give you the 2 lanes, okay?
Okay.
Get ready. This lane is the career and the money, not in a superficial way, but the career and the money is good. But when you hop in the bedroom, it's a little lackluster. Okay? So that's person A. Let's give him a name. Myron. This is Myron over here.
Name choice.
I'm just throwing anyone to say that. Yeah, I agree. Jonathan could be the other person. What did I just say that person was? Oh.
Bad in bed.
Look, it was a whole thing, Kellie. It was saying good career, aspiration,
Well, clearly you see what I focused on.
The only thing you cared about was bad in bed. So then you got the other guy, Jonathan, and Jonathan is laying that pipe, Kellie. Just giving it to you real good. That bad.
My mom listens to this.
That headboard is just knocking rocky, baby. Yes. But and it's not even that the financial is bad because some people could be in school or like changing careers. But this is just more like, but he doesn't have a lot of like career aspirations, but he could lay you down. Which way do you go, Kellie?
Neither. I go straight.
They're both a deal breaker. Mm-hmm. You have to choose one as more.
Hey, I do not actually.
Oh well, I guess you don't.
No.
Okay, is there what you don't side with any of those?
No.
So you just
see if I was younger, easy choice.
Which one?
It would be I would go hard right. But now that I'm older and know better.
Yeah.
That I definitely need someone with aspirations to do something.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. Just have a drive of doing something. It doesn't have to make a lot of money. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It just has to be something.
Yeah.
Because I like to continue to grow and get better at everything that I do. There's no ceiling for me.
Yeah.
So I need someone that can match that energy with something that they're passionate about. There has to be something.
And the question to find that out? Because again, I don't want to be negative towards somebody who like could be changing careers or in school or like there's
See, but I'm already too old for the in school.
Okay, well that's not the point. The point is, I was gonna say one thing that I try to like even within myself. I'm like, if you can't come up with an answer to somebody saying what would you like to accomplish in 5 years, that's like a hard no because. Yeah, they might not be where they need to be now, but like you said, they should already be. But at the same time, they need to at least have something like cooking, something coming together.
Yeah. Well, and definitely don't get me wrong. I think that, chemistry in the bedroom is a really big deal.
Yeah.
And I've talked about that before. I truly feel like if you cannot connect with someone intimately, then your relationship is you're kind of setting yourself up to fail.
I think a little bit too because otherwise it's just a wonderful roommate. Meaning
like somebody to go places with.
All the other stuff is fine, but you do have to have the intimacy. But it's hard to think, intimacy and no sense of like drive. Ooh, that's a tough one. And that is, like you said, maybe something that at 25, 28, 30, you would entertain, but not at our big ages. You can't.
Oh, but we're also at the stage too where intimacy is more than just the physical act of it.
Wait, say what now?
Or maybe I'm at the age.
Not just intercourse?
It's not just that. It's the whole thing.
You can say the word.
Because, but have you been intimate with someone on all the levels? Where it was like physically it was awesome, emotionally it was awesome, like you guys were just like there, and overall it was just like.
Yeah. But sometimes those things they're not long lasting is the hard thing because it is that lightning in a bottle, so it's hard to like keep it that intense. But yeah, if that happens, that's a wonderful feeling.
But like that's kind of, so it's, do you compromise that do you compromise the career driven part, or do you not compromise either one and you just hold out until you come to a place where you're not compromising what you want?
Well, that's the most interesting thing. I gave you lane 1 and lane 2, and you said none of them. That's something that also gets, I think you start to go through as you get older too, because you're like, you know what? I just want the best for me, and if it's not adding up, I'm not going to compromise.
Well, I had a really interesting...
But that's not the thing that you do really in your late 20s and early 30s, because you settle a little bit more, I think, when you're young.
Well, I think it depends too, because I was having a really interesting conversation with someone the other night, and we were talking about this, and he was saying too, like, he hasn't been in a real relationship. I think his last like serious relationship was like almost 20 years ago. And everything else has been like pretty casual, because he just doesn't want to settle. He doesn't want to compromise on things that he wants, and that's just like where it's at. And I found that very interesting, because it comes to where people get into these like situationships, right? Like that's the thing now.
I think once that term happened, it ruined everything for everybody.
I mean, it's basically a friend with benefits. Like, that's what it is.
Well, I'm saying those terms, I understand them, and I definitely feel like we could have our erotic sides, and we do what we do. We're grown-ups. But I think those terms kind of made it a little harder to date, because people, why would they want to go through all that comes with the relationship? Because though great, it's like a lot of stuff, it's a lot of turmoil to go through as well. So you're settling in a way. You're saying, oh, I'll do a friends with benefits. It scratches the itch. Yeah, I'm going to do a situationship. It scratches the itch. But I think at some point we have to be a little more grown up and aim for what we want. When I talk about my 5-year plan, in terms of work mostly, I will always say it's not going to be enough for me. I just had a conversation, us in our conversations. I just had a conversation with my brother about this. It was like talking about 5-year plans. I was like, my 5-year plan cannot be just work, cannot just be, buying a home. It needs to have like a full balance of like good quality dating and like, I don't know, like really sharing, stepping up to the plate rather than going to situationships, which are quite easy to get into. Yeah. And really fun. But
those are my favorite things I was in my...
I think the same way that like lately I've been trying to eat better and like have a little exercise. I want a lot of the stages of me getting older, over 35, over 40, almost over 45. No. I think a lot of the things going forward, I want quality. So I just think of like my 5-year plan. It needs to have and that's the hard thing. If situationship comes through, it feels so great and fun, but it's nothing. Quality in life is easy. Okay. So look at you in that.
I know. Sorry, I think she needs water.
Nothing. Look at our behind the.
This is like real life, you guys.
The behind the scenes of the set. But you know what I mean. Nothing in life is quality. Takes a little bit of work. Quality. Yeah. But I guess that's not really a deal breaker. Other deal breakers. What could they be? So I love how we focused on money and sex.
Well, I mean, it also could be kids, like the age of kids. Like it could be if there's older kids, younger kids, depending on the situation with like if there's like a baby mama drama situation, depending on ages and all of that, like sometimes that can be a deal breaker for sure.
I think that's the hard part. It's not necessarily going to be hard. Well, it's hard connection-wise, and you want to make sure you're great. But that's more the responsibility of the person with the kid, because they're the one bringing you in,
Right.
But it is.
And when you have kids, it's drama, right? Like we're seeing this one, Faithin. Yeah. It's drama right now. Yeah. But that really can be a thing, because then time becomes a factor, right? Because then if you have children, you're not easily available. Yeah. Like some, whether, depending on, if it's you that has the kid and you're dating someone that doesn't have kids, it's like, that can also be difficult to actually come together at times. Because, especially when dating is new, like you want people to be around. Yeah. You want them to be able to hang out when you want them to hang out. I mean, I think it gets a little easier when you get older, because schedule, people have their own lives already set. So it's a little easier for that, I think. But I don't know. And then these dating apps. I feel like nobody ever gets off of them, even if they start dating, which is the whole.
I think we talked about this on another episode, but I was saying once I was at a get together with like it was 4 of us, and it was 2 of the friends said cast a wide net, 2 of the other friends said cast a small net. I say cast a small net because I don't want to waste time every day. I don't want to wait, and I don't understand that idea of casting a wide net. So you're just wasting time. I would rather have quality conversations with my friends and family and stuff like that. I don't want to wake up every day to nobodies in the phone that
So WYAs.
that I'm never gonna. Now I'm not saying there ain't a side of you that wants to, like, you know, at 11:45 p.m. You're like, you know, you're searching through and you're looking for a time. But I'm saying, like, I don't want to. If there is no, if it's not going anywhere, I don't want to just have a mindless connection and text for no reason. And
Right.
Another thing I don't like about that, I'm gonna tell you, Kelly.
Oh.
I don't like that. This would even just be digitally or social media. Like, we end up not really communicating with our actual friends because we end up going, not me, but people end up online communicating with their phone friends that they just, you know, either dating apps or like they're on their favorite blog or whatever, and it's like a common interest or whatever. Like, I think I don't like to waste time talking to people I don't really know.
Yeah.
And so a wide net, you don't sound that interested in any of us.
I mean, I gave up on dating a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like, I never had there was only, I take that back. There was one time where I actually met someone that we had things in common, and I think our deal breaker was just different. We were at different stages in life.
Yeah.
And that just didn't end up working out. But every other time, it was just we're terrible.
I tell you what they should bring.
Terrible experience.
The dating apps could work, but I'm not a fan.
I mean, my full frontal summer photo session did me in.
Yeah. You didn't like receiving that?
I mean, after the first date, no, I didn't.
But did you feel insecure because it said something about you thought?
No.
You just thought it was
that's not somebody that I want to date. But, like, I went on one date with you, and all of a sudden you're sending me naked pictures of yourself? No.
So you didn't like the material?
No, I don't know you. No.
No, but you didn't answer the question. Did you like the merchandise?
I mean, sure, he had an attractive body, but no. Like, I mean, he was in shape, and he's an attractive guy, so I went on the date with him. But, like, no, that's not the mental state that I'm trying to date. Like,
Deal breaker.
No. Maybe if I was 25, I'd have been all over it, but, like, no.
Yeah.
I'm, like, past that. I had a ton of fun when I was young, and now I'm like...
Do you ever send photos as well?
Of course not. You kidding?
Okay, God, was so much sure this show. Boy, when we started off being real bitchy.
Remember, ladies, any photo you send is out in the ether, and you delete, it never goes away, so watch yourselves.
Kelly's like, I'm better in real life anyway.
I have too many defining tattoos. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That was Kelly.
No, but on a serious note, though, as I've gotten older, there are just things that I will not compromise. And one of the most interesting setbacks that I've had in my dating life, I think, is, when you are a career-driven person, a lot of times you will meet men who say, oh, I'd love a hardworking woman, and I want to date somebody that has her own life and, is like a, boss babe and all this stuff. They really don't. Like, very few and far between. I'm sure there really are some that can handle it, but most of the time they don't, because you're not available when they want you to be. Because if they're a boss and you're a boss, when do you hang out? Right?
Interesting.
So they really don't. They kind of don't want someone that can outshine them because you don't want to go home to that.
Yeah. And
I feel like it brings up insecurities you bring up insecurities in each other, and it just clashes. Now, it's not always. I'm sure there are plenty of, relationships that contradict what I'm saying, but in my experience, that's kind of what it's been, is that if you go somewhere and you happen to be cooler than the person you're with, and they think they're cooler than anything, and they learn real fast that that's not always the case in every situation, you can't outshine your man, right?
Interesting.
So
write that down, everybody.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But it's also, conversations you need to have beforehand, and you guys need to understand. And that's the getting to know you stuff.
Yeah.
Hold
on, I got another deal breaker. what if you like everything's checking the boxes, but when the first time that you meet their friends, but I would say family more so, you do not click? Is that a deal breaker?
Yes.
Because it's going to go nowhere, right?
Right. And I'm too close with my family. Like, we'd have to do family stuff, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
If if they didn't get along with my family or couldn't figure it out,
too challenging.
it's like, no, I'm not doing it.
Because then it's going to create a divide. We know there was a family friend we grew up with.
Well, let me say though, I don't think your family should limit your be the deciding factor, but it has to be you, what you're willing to accept and not. And if there's just something that just will not work, I think it'll be too much of a complication. They'll resent you, you'll resent them, and at the end of the day, it's just a disaster.
And especially like the dynamic of how close you are with your family.
Yeah, I'm super close.
It's not everyone is like fully. It wouldn't really like bother, but I can tell someone like you, it would be like if they don't mesh within, there's not going to be.
Well, and I dated somebody that their mother didn't, it was an issue because the mother was really close with the ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
And just wouldn't accept anybody else that came after. It was like, I had never even met her.
Yeah.
But it was just like, it was never going to happen, and that relationship was like dead in the water.
Okay, so Kelly usually says this. I usually am like, just whatever. But if you want to write your deal breakers in dating, put it in the comments. I usually am like, do what you want to do. Kelly's like, please, we want to hear
I want to know,
from you.
what are some new ones? I mean, is it if if you do social media preferences, is that a thing? If you're active on social media, if you're too active, if you're not active enough.
Is liking the local hottie, is that like considered like a flirting thing, and would you have to be worried about the person you're dating? Are they like in the DMs? You would have to worry. Is that a deal breaker? Okay, I don't want to end with negative. That's why I said deal breakers. Put it in the comments, because Kelly wants you to. I don't. But I want to
then we'll recap all of them.
I want to end on a positive note, which is, Kelly, can you give me about 3 deal makers? We're in this dating world. Yeah, what is like your best bit of advice? Like, a deal maker would be to what? What is it that you should be doing to like attract whoever you're looking to attract?
I mean, I think the ideal thing is let people be themselves and accept them wholeheartedly as they are. Don't try to change them. Don't try to limit them. Embrace them, accept them for who they are. If you feel like you have to change them, you want to alter anything, that is not the relationship for you. I think when you meet somebody and you like them and you decide to be in a relationship, then you need to let them be who they are and really get to know them. I feel like that's one thing that people really don't do, is you show a kind of muted side to yourself when you're first dating, and then after a little while the real you comes out, and then it's like, whoa. I feel like go all, if you're gonna do it, like, go all in and figure it out.
Well, you make it sound so easy.
Well, I think it could be. I think we make it harder than it needs to be. I really do.
Why?
I think we make it harder than it needs to be. I don't know why. That's the thing.
Hard though, Kelly. You make it sound like, just show the best side of you.
No, don't show the best side of you. Just relax. I feel like we overthink it and we make it harder than it needs to be. And that's part of the problem. Because if you don't show who you are in the beginning and you're giving some fake version of yourself, by the time they figure it out, you've wasted both of your times. Like, why do that?
Well, because you feel like you could change the person.
Yeah, but you shouldn't want to change the
I would change you.
But why would you want to change anybody? Like,
because I want to be in control, Kelly. That's why.
No, and that's the problem. Control yourself.
Yeah.
Worry about yourself. Like, work on, because, I mean, that's like the whole cliche thing, right? Like, unless you like yourself, how are you going to, like, love somebody else?
If you can't love yourself, how can you love someone else?
Like, how would you expect anyone else to love you if you don't even love you, right? Like,
are you the problem, though?
Always.
I feel like you should blame the other person. Why?
Always.
This is too much Taylor Swift listening. You're putting it on you. I don't look at you confidence, Kelly.
No, it's not. But no, I'm not saying.
How can I? No.
The anti-hero. No. I'm not saying. No, what's my fault are the choices that I've made and the red flags I've ignored. That's my fault. Is not having
Also,
boundaries.
you took way too many compromises.
I took way too many compromises, and I am done with that.
Okay. Wow.
And I let a lot of things pass that shouldn't have.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying is like set boundaries, be yourself. And if someone doesn't want to accept you for that, they're not the person for you. And that's a really hard thing because there's a bunch of, well, what if I did this? And why?
Yeah.
Like, why? I'm too old for that now.
In terms of compatibility, what do you think about like how important is it to like, I don't want to say you have to have exact same similarities, but like liking the same music or the style of like, some people like to binge watch, some people like to watch the weekly like HBO Max show or whatever. I think those things matter too. Cooking. I think like common interest is very valuable.
Yeah. A friend of mine and I were talking about this because, he is really into physical exercise and, cooking and, doing things with his friends, not just like, he's not a TV watcher. So like lounging all the time is just not going to work for him. Like every once in a while, like he'll do it, but he's like not going to do that. And I think,
I think that's like such a special, cute, not that that's the only thing you would want to do. Obviously want to do things, but like, so for instance, like people like binging. I like watching weeklies. Like I know it doesn't exist as much anymore, but like, the big HBO series on a Sunday night. And if I'm dating and there's not that connection where we both enjoy that, I think that's like, I wouldn't want you to just do it for the sake of like, Ronnie
appeasing
likes this.
you.
I want like us to both like that's a little bit of my love language. It's kind of like when you both like the same music is valuable too.
Right. Well, it's like me. Like I love movies and TV. Like I love to get lost in story, and I'm really big on character development. Like I want to break down those characters and get in their heads and all this. And I don't need somebody to do that with everything, but there has to be a genre that we can get into together because it makes it more fun. Like you don't have to be as nerdy as I am about it, but I think it would be fun to be able to, whether it's superhero movies or action movies.
I think you had your one
whatever.
thing.
There should be one thing that we can really do
so
together.
even a lot of people will like binge like Netflix thing. That's fine too.
Yeah.
I don't like binging per se.
Oh, here's the thing. Tell me what you think about this. And this is what I was talking about the other day. So I am a self-sufficient person. I do not need someone to come and rescue me. I don't need anybody to take care of me. That's not what I'm looking for in a relationship.
That is what I'm looking for.
But I mean, if it happens and it's a bonus, but I think that it should be like a 50-50 thing, right? Like you should be able to take care of yourself and then you come together and do whatever. But there was
a song that said, I'm a movement by myself, but we're a force when we're together.
Oh, yeah.
That's what your vibe is.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it's also, I don't need you, I want you. Isn't it? And here's the thing. Don't you want to be wanted versus needed? Like, I don't need you to pay my bills.
There has been a lot
but I want you to be part of my life. You know what I mean?
There has been a lot of insecure relationships that are in the basis of one sort of having the sense of power over the next. And I just know that doesn't feel like love. That feels like
control,
dependency, if anything. And I'm not saying it can't be valuable, but I think it's kind of like even the concept of like when people are like, they're checking, who they're with, or who they're dating, like their cell phone or whatever. I feel like the moment the trust is gone and the person doesn't even want you, like kind of what you said, I want you to want me. I do not want to sell that. That is not, if it is not what you feel in your heart, we have got to stop what we're doing.
Exactly. And just be honest about it. And we are too old to be BSing around. Like, I don't have a lot of time to waste. My life is half over.
And while that's bold to say, because it's like, wow, like, why would you, if it's kind of a good thing, why would you be so blunt to, like, move on? I think it's just a matter of, if you're engaging with anybody and you're wasting time. So
and there's no need to waste their time or yours.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be ugly. It can just be like, hey, we're clearly not walking down the same path.
Yeah.
So I think you can keep going your way. I'm going to keep going my way. But it was like great to spend this time with you. But that's a maturity level too. Like you have to get to that point where you can do that and the person can accept it without, there having to be such a negative connotation with that. Like sometimes it's okay that things don't work out. You don't have to hate each other.
You are mature beyond your years, and your hair is more golden than it used to be.
I'm trying to grow up. I still feel like I'm a dumb kid, but I'm working on it.
And having known you since your 20s, it's quite It's quite.
I mean, the other night I was like drinking water at the end of the night and like, making sure that I did go home by myself. Like, when does that happen?
Didn't you? We're not going to go on a subtopic, but did you have an opportunity to not do that?
I did.
And you chose hanging out with us?
I did.
Because we were all together that night.
Priorities.
Wow. Talk about a deal breaker and a deal maker. This one. All right. We've got to wrap it up, but I got to say, wrap it up. We have got to wrap it up. And if you want to support, you can do it at our sponsor, which is ViridianRoad.com. Creativity never goes out of style. A lot of wonderful, kind of crafty, designs over there. So go to the website. You'll kind of see more. ViridianRoad.com. Patreon.com/RandomlyRJ Jr. for all of my stuff, too. So that's fun as well. Deal breakers and deal makers. Put it in the comments what you think those things are. And that way, it'll help the next person in their journey with dating who they're dating now and, who's up in the future, too.
Yeah.
It's ever changing, unless you're married.
Well.
Before divorce. But we don't want a divorce. We want healthy marriages. You know what I mean? All right, I got to go, Kelly. Talk to you on the next one.
Bye.